Hello everyone, welcome back to the next video. In this video, I will show you how to create an iOS plugin for speech to text conversion in Godot game engine. So let's get started. As usual, you would require a macOS and Xcode installed from Apple App Store. Also, I have just created this dummy like empty folder called Godot. You can name it whatever you feel like. It's just for project organization because at the end of this tutorial, there will be 3 different projects created. That's why. But you can organize it however you feel like. So as usual, this is just a cheat sheet which I have created, which you are seeing it on VS Code, and I have you will have to go to this particular documentation. Based on this documentation only I have created this cheat sheet, but if you want to refer this documentation you can do that as well. So just first open Xcode, click on file, new, and click package. Then select multi-platform, select library, click next, and go to Godot, and here you have to create this particular library. Now you can name it whatever you feel like. I'm just naming it as my library, but it's important you remember this name because this name will be used in lot other places as well. So I will just click on create. Once that is done, you have to copy this dependencies block which you are seeing over here. So I'll just scroll down and here you sorry, scroll up. Yeah, here you can see we need to add this dependency block after the products array. So I'll just paste it over here inside this package.swift, and make sure you press command S, so it will automatically download the Swift Godot dependency for you with the help of Swift package manager, so we don't have to worry too much about it. So here you can see it has downloaded it for us. Then we have to add this platform iOS version 17. So again I'll just scroll down, and here you can see we have to add this. So I'll just paste it over here. Now I've kept the minimum deployment as 17 because I was facing issues on lower versions of iOS with Swift Godot, like it was not compiling it for me, that's why. Then we have to also add this type dynamic as well. So here you can see after library name we have to add this. So I'll just paste this over here. And the last thing which we have to do is dependencies. So again I'll just copy this again if it is part of this documentation itself. So as you can see over here, so after target name we have to add it over here. So I'll just paste it. Now I'll just do command D and control I just to improve the indentation a little. Then at the time of me recording this video, Swift Godot still does not support Swift version 6 and above because Swift version 6 introduces a lot of concurrency things. So I'll just change this version to 5.10, which is fine for us. Okay, once that is done, the next thing which we have to do is we'll have to go to my library.swift file. Now here I will cheat a little bit as usual. I'll just go to my sample project which I have already created, and from that I will just copy paste some code and then I'll explain it to you. Copy this and I'll paste it over here. So here we are importing UIKit, Swift Godot, AV Foundation as well as speech. Then this is the boilerplate code which you have to write for Swift Godot. Again, this should be your own library name. If you are seeing a lot of errors in this particular file like this one, and there could be other errors as well, don't worry too much about it. Like Swift Godot does not play nicely with Xcode, that's why we are getting all these false positives. Then here we have to create a class and mark it as @main actor, which extends from NS object as well as AV audio recorder delegate. Then we can't directly extend this delegate inside our main class which I have created at the very bottom. Like Swift Godot again does not allow this. That's why I have to create separate class. So first we create this audio recorder manager. So we create a recording session, audio recorder as well as document path. Here I have created 2 callbacks, on recorder finish and on error. So inside the init we first initialize our document path. Then here we create a start recording, and here we call up setup recording. So first we initialize our recording session, then we just do recording session dot set category play and record, and here we set the active as true. Then we request permission and start recording it. So inside request permission and record, we just request record permission. Once it is given, then we initialize our recorder, otherwise we throw an error inside a callback. Then inside initial recorder, so here you can name the file whatever you feel like. So here we create this audio file name, then we allow settings to it. Then we create our AV audio recorder, set the delegate and start recording. Then we have this start recording method as well, sorry, stop recording method as well, where we just stop the recording. and here we again have to pass the same file name. So it's better you maybe you keep it inside a variable. Then we just do on recording finish and audio recorder equal to nil, and here we again just initialize, like override this particular method from the delegate, and if this flag is equal to false, then recording failed to complete successfully. Okay, then we have to create another speech recognition manager class, which has to sf speech recognizer, and then which has to callback on transition complete and on error. Then inside init we just initialize our recognizer. Then here we just do request permission and transcribe, pass the audio url to it. Then we just do sf speech recognizer dot request authorization. If it is authorized, then we just do transcribe audio, otherwise we throw an error. And inside transcribe audio we just do sf speech url recognition request. Then we just do recognizer dot recognition request, and in case if there is any error we send the error callback, otherwise we send the actual string which has been converted from speech. Then this is the actual class which have been annotated with @Godot. So this class will be called from GD script side. This is a signal which will help us to send the text back to a GD script or Godot side. Then here we just initialize our two class which we have created. Then inside the init method over here, both are same. So we just do setup callbacks. So inside setup callbacks we set up the callback for on recording finish, on error, on transcription complete, on error, all that stuff. And here we just have two methods, start recording and stop recording. So once start recording, we'll just ask the user to say something, and stop recording, once stop recording is done, we'll just convert the speech to text and send it back to Godot side. There is one more thing which we need to do, like we have to create this build.sh file. So I'm not comfortable creating that file from Xcode. So what I'll do is I'll just go to this Godot folder which I have and just open it inside VS Code. I'll just open my cheat sheet as well, and here is our library. So inside from VS Code I'm just creating this file, but if you are comfortable doing it from Xcode you can do that as well. So I'll just create this build.sh file. Then just open this particular URL, because I'll just copy a lot of code. So I'll just copy all this code and just put it inside our build.sh file. Once you do that, just scroll up, and at the very top here you have to write it as my library. Okay, and again this should be your own library name. And there is one more thing, like dash skip macro validation slash backward slash. So here you have to paste that as well. Again, make sure you add no spaces. Once that is done, you have to cd to your Godot folder. So I am like so I'll just cd to the Godot folder. I'll clear everything out. Okay, I'll just close this, and I'll just cd to my library as well. And then firstly I'll have to run this particular command. So I'll just copy this, I'll paste it over here, and then I need to run this particular command. Now I'm not planning to deploy this app to Apple App Store, so the debug frameworks are fine for me, but if you are planning, you will have to replace the word debug with release. Rest everything remains the same. So I'll close this as well. So I'll just run this command. Now this will take little bit of time. In the meantime, we can just open Godot game engine. I'm using Godot 4.3.0, but I think by the time you guys watch it, Godot 4.4.0 might already be out, but I don't think there will be any breaking changes as such. Okay, I'll just remove all this. Okay, I'll just click on create. I'll just browse to that Godot folder which I had created. Then I'll just select that folder and I'll just name it as my Godot project. Okay, and I'll just click on create and edit. Then I'll just click on project, export, add, iOS, click on fix import. Firstly, you will have to enter your App Store team ID. So for that, you can go to this particular URL over here, and just it will guide you on how to get your App Store team ID. I will enter mine later on, but you make sure you enter it now only. And you will also have to enter your bundle identifier. So it is typically com dot your company name dot your app name. So that's what I have entered. I'll click on close. Then inside a 2D scene, I'll just take two buttons. So I will add one button over here. Just drag and just enlarge it a little. Okay, and I'll just duplicate this again. Okay, and then I'll add one label as well. and I will just drag this particular label. Then I will just do Command S to save, and then I will attach one script to this as well. Then I will add a press signal for both of these buttons. This is my second button. I'll add press signal to this as well. Then I will just drag and drop this label as well. Okay, and also I will make sure I run this so that my current root scene is selected. Okay, then also I'll just add some text to our button, so maybe start and stop, start, stop. Okay, and I'll just increase the font size for our label. Font size maybe 40. I'll just save this quickly. Okay, then again I'll just open VS Code. Sorry, I'll just go back to my sample project. I'll just copy some code. I'll close this, and here firstly I'll create this variable called my library. Okay, so here is our variable which I have created. Then we need to initialize it as well. So here again I'll just initialize it like this. So here again this should be your own library name as well as over here, and then we just do my library.connect. Here is our output signal which we have created, and whenever a signal has been sent it will call this method, so we'll have to create this particular method as well. So I'll just copy this and I'll paste it over here. So once we get some text, we just update our label. On first button press, we just call start recording. And on second button press, we just call stop recording. Okay, then again go back to VS Code. Inside our Godot game engine, Godot project, if you want you can do this from Godot game engine as well. I'm just more comfortable doing this from VS Code. So you just have to create a new folder called bin, and then you have to create a file with your library name .gd extension. Then we have to just copy this bit of code and paste it inside my library.gd extension. Again, if you have generated release, you will have to replace the word debug with release on both of these things. Then if you open your terminal, here you can see it has built successfully. So you will have to go to your library again. So go to Godot folder, go to library, go to bin, go to iOS, and if you just copy these two .framework folders and go back to your Godot game project, go to bin and just paste it over here. Then just come back, root of the project, create one folder called iOS. You can name this whatever you feel like. It's just that I have named it iOS because we need to export the iOS project from Godot game engine, but you can name it whatever you feel like, and there will be lot of files, so I have created a separate folder for this. Come back to Godot game engine, make sure you save everything by doing Command S, go to project, export, and then here you can just click on this export project button. Just go to the iOS folder and click on save over here. So let's just wait for this to finish. Again, this will take a bit of time. Okay, so here we just have this particular, we have exported our project successfully. Then you just have to go to the iOS folder, double click on this .xcode proj file. It will automatically open it for you in Xcode. Then you just have to run this project on a real device, but before you run it, there is two more things which we have to do. Firstly, you'll have to open this .info.plist file. Just right click, open as source code. Now at least when I export a project from Godot 4.3.0, we get this particular microphone usage description permission, but this could completely be removed in future versions of Godot. So you will have to add this bit of code, and you have to specify why your app requires this particular code. So I'll just say convert speech to text. Okay, now there is one more permission which we require. Again, I'll just cheat a little and I'll go back to my old project just to see what's the other permission which we require. uh, okay, yeah, we require this particular permission. I'll just copy this, I'll just close this. You'll have to go to Xcode, and once you add below this or wherever you feel like, just I'll add this below this. You'll have to add this NS speech recognition usage description as well. So these are the two permissions which you have to add. uh, and then just run your application. Make sure you run it on a real device, it will not work on a simulator. Let me just mirror my device quickly. Okay, so here you can see, I'll just click on start and I'll just say something. I'll give the permission. Hello world, this is coding with nobody. I'll click on stop. I'll click allow, and here you can see, hello world, this is coding with nobody. And I think it just didn't recognize the last thing which I said. I think the last thing which I said was I will click on stop, but I think it just recognized as likes OTT, something completely wrong. But at least the first part it recognized perfectly fine. So yeah, that's how you can convert speech to text. Yeah, that's it. Thank you for watching. Bye.